I am Bilal Morris, and this is Belizean Legends. As Belizeans, we have a great history of achievement. We are fortunate to witness some magnificent athletic performances. We've been privileged to enjoy great musical concerts from extraordinary musical artists. As a nation, we have struggled politically, but also made great progress. Culturally, we continue to evolve as a society. Where were you when some of these incredible moments occurred? Belizean Legends will transcend you back into time to relive some of these spectacular events and offer some behind-the-scenes perspective on the untold stories, as well as updating you on the individual lives featured in this series.
So we were talking about when I spoke to you all individually about your role in the different parts of that historical moments, both the Central American and the Caribbean Games in 1974, and in terms of Glenda Ellis, the 1979 Pan American Games. The 1979 Pan American Games was such a highlight because we beat one of the greatest teams. They call them the Orlando Rebels. The United States 2-1 in that game. No team had beat the United States at that time. Till Belize beat them 2-1. They went undefeated throughout that whole 1979 year, you know. And we also want to talk about the 1974 gold medal team, right? And what was those moments like, Elaine?
The Central American Caribbean Games, I think one of the things that I don't think that we were really aware that it was such a big event. And when we got there, I remember they built an Olympic Village. As a matter of fact, the stadium was built specifically for those games. And then there was the Olympic Village, and when we were, you know, there were the hall, the mess hall that we all had to go eat at. So that's the only time we got to see the guys. When we go to the mess hall to eat, that was awesome. And then of course we had to take the Olympic bus to the games. So, you know, that was very exciting. I mean, it was totally different from, you know, what we're used to. But the games itself, I mean, my God, we did an excellent job without even, you know, really paying attention to the fact that we did something so great. You know, this was another day at the park for us at the time, you know, because we trained so hard and we practiced like 2 times a day, and
we weren't aware of what we had done. We didn't feel no way, just like we just played a game and won.
Yes. What was your feelings, Glenda, looking at these greats that came before you during that moment that you're talking about?
It was a step for us to try and achieve what they have achieved. So, like, these are the big sisters of softball, and we are the little sisters of softball. So we look up to our big sisters in order to achieve what they achieve. And I guess we did a fantastic job too, because we followed behind in their footsteps, and we made them proud for being Belizeans and doing what they did. So softball for us is a history that's going to go on for a long time. It's something that the country as a whole has, has something to say, be proud of. Because when they look at us, they could say they're golden girls, because that's what we are.
Yes.
These are our golden girls, and that's what we are too, because we achieve the same level and the same status as they do.
And you know, you don't really have that today, where, as I had interviewed each of you, and I was trying to get from you about our young ballers today, you, Bonnie Rhamdas and Elaine Smith, was an example for you, Glenda Ellis. There was this pass down of the baton, so to speak, that you had in that era, which is not there today.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, we had a lot to look up to as well. You know, when we look at the girls that came before us, when I look at the Consuelo Dugal, and I look at all of the generation of, you know, the Jenkins and the Johnsons, and, you know, Yeah, with Debbie Lynch and Judith Lynch, and we I think we had some great examples before us, and then of course we came, and then you have the Glenda Ellis team, and then a few more, and then I don't know where the breakdown happened, but again, like I said earlier, I think we could definitely build it back up and get to that status again.
I think looking at a documentary like this that we are trying to produce and having these young players in Belize look at that and see that we were once great, we were once queens of this game. I think it's a great motivation.
Yeah, for us, I think the softball era was like a generational era for us because it's like handed down from generation to generation to generation. And it's like Elaine said, where did the breakdown came? Because like I said, they had high standards to look up to. So I don't know where they faltered, but maybe I guess it's a discipline thing because we on a whole had to be disciplined in order to play the game from generation down. So if there's a lack of discipline and there's not enough love for the game, probably that's where we falter. That's where we falter.
You guys looking at the Glenda Ellis's team that won the 1979, being that you guys preceded them in another great moment, the 1974 Central American Games.
Right.
What was you guys' feelings and your thoughts at the time when you guys did it again in 1979 through those who came after you?
I was really proud. I remember when we were at the games, Bunny, it was talks of going to the Pan Am Games at the time. I remember last year mentioned it. And, I was asked just recently, how come you didn't go to the Pan Am Games? I had actually left Belize at the time. But at that time, they were talking about going to the Pan Am Games. It wasn't for certain when Leslie was talking about it. And then when the team actually went to the Pan Am Games, I was more than proud. And then they won that silver. I was like, oh yes, keep that ball rolling. So totally excited. Yeah. Very, very proud.
Did you remember some moments, Bunny, when you saw that 1979? But being a baller at the time, a softballer, and having seen them winning again and repeating what you guys did in 74, what was your feelings?
I was looking forward to it, but I had this accident that this foot broken. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. You were like, really, man, I would feel like jump up from here, and I really want to play some ball now that those girls had repeated it a second time, right?
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I was excited. I mean, I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great.
You felt a continuation from what you guys did. You felt great.
Yeah, that's what made it feel good. Because I was like, okay, if we can keep this going, that's totally exciting.
Yes.
And I mean, that team, they were awesome. They were playing ball. They were playing some balls. I was like, yes.
What would you say? Were the Glenda Ellis's crowd? Do you guys think were better than the Elaine Smith's, Bunny Rhamdas' crowd? What was it? Because you all was so competitive. I mean, and that's what made you all great, in that you all were always trying to better the next. The one team was always trying to better the next team. One selection was always trying to be better than the other one.
I think the difference between their team, they probably had more girls on their level as far as age-wise. I think the difference between the national team that Bunny and I was on, we were the rookies at the time. And we were straight out of, she was Wesley College, I was St. Hilda's College. As a matter of fact, we were rivalry. It was like we beating them, they beating us. She was pitching for Wesley. I was pitching for St. Hilda's. And then we played with with the girls that been in the league way before us. So I mean, when I look at their team, they were all kind of on that level. So everybody was just, but we were kind of in and out the games because we were sitting up there playing ball with Isolate Heat and we felt like the babies.
Did you play for secondary schools?
Yes, I played for junior high one. That's the school I played.
So what did you think, Glenda? You thought your team was better? You thought your selection would have rose to a higher new level than Elaine's and Beverly's squad? Because it's battle, it's competition. Right,
let's put it this way. they had the experience, and we gleaned from the experience that they had in order to compete at the level that we competed at. And we have to take our hats off to them because they were there first. They made the path, and so we just followed in their footsteps. So, and they made a great pathway for us in order to achieve what we wanted to achieve. And like I said, we had like she said, we had a great team. We had a committed team, and we had a young team. And what happened is we didn't have a lot of injuries on our team, so that could add to it also. So it was fresh, young blood going against these people. So
remind me of all this year's NBA with LeBron and all of them, and all those who got injured, and so they couldn't use. That was a very good point you mentioned. But how did you look at the Consuelos that even came before them on the Isolene Heats? Were you looking about two generations back to also, where those are example for you?
Yes, because I used to like to watch Isolene Heat pitch. Wow, she was a phenomenal. And she was left-handed also, and I would go out there and I'm like, wow. I was amazed. I was amazed. She was something to watch. She was something to watch.
Yes.
When she was.
I used to love that style, how she flips the ball front and then brings it back.
Actually, I got my style from Isolene and then from Judith Lynch, who pitched the same way. Now I think Bunny and the rest of them, they go overhand, and I did the underhand like ISO, and
I two types of pitching, the windmill and the slingshot.
Yeah, you guys go windmill.
I went to do both.
Yeah, I went slingshot because looking at ISO, the way she did it, and then after her was Judith Lynch, and so I kind of modeled my style from Judith because I thought it looked cool and it was good and it was great, and and so that's how I started. I do the slingshot.
Yes.
And then Judith had
that was called the slingshot.
The slingshot, right?
The Isolene Heat style was the slingshot style.
Isolene Heat and Judith Lynch pitched that way, and
that was a beauty to watch.
And she was a power.
Right.
Yeah.
So Lena Lewis and Bunny and all them, it was the windmill. A lot of times, I don't know, I never did capture that one, but hey. Judith I was looking at her and the way she stepped after she pitched the ball and was always ready to receive. That's what I'm going to do.
Admire.
She had a power.
Yeah.
Just admire her.
Yeah.
The way you want to be like her.
Yeah, it did. So right now, I think the younger generation, they have to have something that they want to.
They got to go back to tape. Like you hear the man says, I go back to tape and I look at the legendary ballers before me and watch what they were doing.
Yeah.
I think that's why we really need some history for them. We need to have them to look at something and see what these ballers were playing back. Yeah.
They got to see
yes.
to follow in their footsteps.
Right.
We had some passionate coaches too. As a matter of fact, it was not even just coaches. We had guys that would just be at the park. Everybody was helping out. Everybody was hitting balls to you. Everybody was working you out. I mean, everybody was making sure that. I mean, it was.
So that chemistry we talk about between coaches and players.
Made a team so that we could play with them to strengthen us up. And at the end of the day, we have a good, strong team out there.
Because we used to have like Greg and
we used to get Cara. You remember Cara?
Oh yeah, I remember that. And you know what? These guys, they would make sure that, see, we weren't afraid of any ball or any pitch. I mean, because they would get right in front of you, and I mean, guys, they don't care whether, this is a girl. They would come over and they would just fire that ball, and if you were first base.
As part of the toughness process.
And see, this is one of the reasons why I started catching the ball and moved to the side, because the ball was coming with such speed from the guys. And I would step to the side and catch the ball like this. If anything, it's gone.
How much miles per hour that ball is coming?
But it made us tough.
Yeah.
And we weren't afraid of anything.
And when you go in sliding, they hit you real hard.
They don't care if you was a girl.
They hit you real hard. They make you take the pain and punishment for going in.
That was part of why you guys rose to such high level.